Yo, we're on episode 30, man. 30 episodes of this podcast. Maybe one day we'll get above 15 views on one of these shits. But I love doing them, man. So we're back. We're post AFC Championship game. I should have done a video after the AFC Championship game, but just kind of been off work, man. Been getting my relaxation in, you know what I'm saying? Was hanging out with my girlfriend, watched some movies. But let's really one thing I really want to come on here and bitch about real quick is the fourth down epidemic. Now, I know that a lot of the young folk like myself are going to complain because of what the analytics say, right? And they're right. The analytics technically does know better than I do, you know, what what the correct winning play is. What 8 times out of 10 has a better chance of winning me a football game, right? Excuse me. But when I'm Sean Payton and my starting quarterback is out, and I'm starting Jarrett Stidham, who wasn't good enough to even stay on the Raiders, who won 2 games last year, and I'm up 7-0 in the AFC Championship game. I'm sure they have some sort of weather forecast. I'm sure they have weather equipment. I'm sure he has an iPhone, and he can check the weather app like you do when you're, in the corner at a party you don't want to be at. I'm sure that he had to have some knowledge that there was a chance that there's going to be some snow, there's going to be some bad weather, some stuff might be afoot. So why in the fuck, when you're up 7-0, you're starting a backup quarterback, you're in field goal range, and you have a chance to go up 2 scores on the potential MVP? They're not playing well right now. Drake May and the Patriots were not playing great in that game. At that point in the game, I believe it was still the first quarter. They hadn't been putting together anything impressive. You have one of the best defenses in the league, a defense that me personally as a Raiders fan, I hate the Broncos. I thought they were going to be the best defense in the NFL. That turned out to be the Texans, that turned out to be the Seahawks, but the Broncos are like top 3. You have one of the most elite defenses in the NFL. And then the play call is a rollout with Jarrett Stidham. This isn't Bo Nix, man. And I'm not a big Bo Nix guy, but that ain't Bo Nix back there. Like, I gotta say, I think that Sean Payton single-handedly lost his team an AFC Championship game with that stupid-ass decision. I don't care that the analytics say that you're supposed to go for that. I think it was 4th and 1. But first off, you have an elite offensive line. If you're going to go for it, why not run the ball? Why are you putting the ball in the hands of your backup quarterback on a rollout? I thought that the idea to go for it was stupid. I thought that the play call was stupid. I thought that the whole thing was stupid. You could have lost in the Super Bowl to the Seahawks. You would have had a good chance to come to the Super Bowl and lose to the Seahawks. I feel like Sean Payton, and I know a lot of people hate Sean Payton because they kind of see him as like a cocky douche. I don't hate Sean Payton. He's a really smart offensive coach. Those are the kind of guys that I find myself rooting for in this league. Is just a coach who I think is smart scheme-wise, right? But you hold the other team to 0 points. You have a backup quarterback in the game. Take the points. What are we doing? I mean, I feel like when I was 6, you could have said, "Hey, what would you do?" And I would have said, "Well, my dad always told me take the points." You know what I mean? Like, take the points, man. I understand going for it, but like, it just feels stupid to me, and I think that that's why you lost the game. My take, I think, might be if the other team has 0 points and you can go up by 2 scores, kick the field goal. If the other team has 0 points, kick the field goal. You're playing against a good defense. You're in an AFC Championship game. Not to mention, you're at home with a gigantic home field advantage because Denver is not a fun place to play. You know what I mean? These teams are not conditioned for this. There's an opportunity to be snow. You know that the Patriots are going to get more tired than they're used to getting. And it seemingly so far has been an old-fashioned defensive football game. And you know what used to win old-fashioned defensive football games all the time? Your kicker. I don't get it. If the Rams Seahawks game, I thought that it was questionable to go for that from the 4 on the goal line against the Seahawks. I thought that was kind of a questionable go for it by Sean McVay, but I kind of get it because that wasn't an old-fashioned defensive football game. That was a barn burner. That was a thriller. That was one of the best games of the year. It was full of offense. If you're in one of those games, then maybe that's a different situation, and maybe you need to take that into account as the head coach of a football team. And don't get me wrong, all of these guys who I'm about to criticize have way more football knowledge than me. 100 times out of 100, these guys would school me about anything. And, these guys get paid millions of dollars to do this shit, and I'm doing it for 15 views on YouTube on the high end, right? If I get 200 views on this on TikTok, I'm happy, and that guy's getting a couple $1,000,000. But at the end of the day, is it not kind of common sense to just say, I have a backup quarterback. We're probably not going to get as many trips into the end zone as I'd like this game. Let me not be cocky about it. Let me just trust my kicker, send him out there, take the points. Because you know what kind of game you're playing right now? You're playing a 1987 style football game. You're in Denver. You have a backup quarterback. You have two good defenses. And I didn't think the Patriots were a particularly fantastic defense throughout the season, but they've clearly turned it on in the playoffs. So you've got two good defenses. You have a great defense. You're at home. You have a backup quarterback in the game. This is going to be a low-scoring game. This game's going to end 10-7. This game's going to end 13-10. This game's going to end 17-13. 17-13, would be the high end. You know what I mean? This is a good old-fashioned Bears-Steelers football game. Why aren't we 80s Bears-Steelers game? Why are we not taking the points here? You know what used to win those games all the time? 9 points. We know what's going to... Come on, Sean Payton. I mean, hey, no love lost on my end as a Raider fan. I don't want to see the Broncos in the Super Bowl, but I think that he single-handedly fucked his team out of a Super Bowl appearance with that. Just that play. And I know that people are going to say it was early in the game. You never know. I don't care. When you get paid millions of dollars to do this shit, I have higher expectations for you than I do for, my mom. If I would have said, hey, Mom, would you kick the field goal here? You're up 7-0. My mom probably would have said, yeah, let's just take the points. And if my mom was the head coach and they called her right there and they said, hey, it's up to you, I think the Broncos win that. If they sub my mom in to do one play call against the Patriots and she goes, yeah, just go ahead and kick the field goal. Why are we not? I mean, come on, what are we doing? I think the Broncos are in the Super Bowl this week, or next week, but whatever. Patriots win a disgusting, gross, sickening football game. Fuck this franchise. I feel like every other fan feels the same way, particularly as a Raiders fan. I've watched my team be garbage for my whole life, and I'm watching the Patriots play in their 53rd Super Bowl in 20 years somehow, and they're in every AFC Championship game. They're in every Super Bowl. It makes me sick. But shout out to the Patriots, I guess. I mean, shocker when you go from Gerard Mayo to Mike Vrabel and you spend $100 million in free agency and you have a young quarterback who's not making any money. Got a pretty good team. And that is all that I can hope for the Las Vegas Raiders, is that we hire a pretty good coach, spend $100 million in free agency, and have a young quarterback. So the Patriots are what I hope the Raiders could be in 3 years. Let's talk about the NFC Championship game. One of the best games of football I've watched with my own two eyes. And I just want to say, man, I'm a Matt Stafford guy. I'm a big-time Matt Stafford guy. Matt Stafford played great and lost. Sam Darnold, man. Look at Sam Darnold. I know Colin Cowherd must have been on top of the world watching this game. The only way it could have gotten any better is if Sam Darnold would have came out in the post-game presser and been like, I won this game because I don't ever wear a backwards hat. There's no way that Colin Cowherd could have felt more validated in his entire life than watching Sam Darnold outplay Matthew Stafford in the NFC Championship game. I mean, and I think of Matt Stafford as one of the great playoff performers. He's truly great. I got to say, I didn't believe too heavily in Sam Darnold in this game because I didn't think of him as a big game choker, but he's had some big game mishaps, and I trust Matt Stafford to come through in a playoff game 100 times out of 100, especially with Sean McVay in that offense. But man, did Sam Darnold show me something on Sunday, man. That to me, if Sam Darnold does what I think he's going to do, which is win the fucking Super Bowl, pardon my French, we got to have some conversations about Sam Darnold being a top 6 to 7 quarterback in the NFL. This is getting weird. Most wins in the last 2 seasons, and you make a Super Bowl. The Rams had his number, and he came out and he gave them the business. Not to mention, look at Mike McDonald. God, Mike McDonald is just the Sean McVay of the defense, isn't he? I mean, that was the beautiful coaching matchup. Just there's nothing better. There's nothing better than watching a Sean McVay-led offense go against a Mike McDonald-led defense. I mean, who what is that Harbaugh says? Who's got it better than us? You know what I mean? Who's got it better than football fans? When you come in and you get to watch a beautiful game like that, man. That was an awesome game. I thought that like I said, I thought going forward on fourth down was a little questionable by the Rams. I'm sure you guys know what play I'm talking about. Tariq Woolen, who I actually really want the Raiders to go after and try and sign in the offseason because we really need corners, and he'd be awesome in Madden, is has just like a 5-minute span of some of the most unfortunate shit I've ever seen. Like he drops a interception, low key I think it was Puka who's trying to play DB there. Drops the pick, kind of looked like Puka, kind of nice at a PBU, by the way. He had one like 2 weeks ago, I think, too, against the Panthers. W Puka Nakua corner play. But he drops a pick, right? Then on 3rd and like 15, they get it, or 3rd and 12, they get a stop. It goes to 4th and 12, and he starts jawing with the bench on the sideline. It's a taunting penalty, gives the Rams a first down. Next play after that, immediately gives up a touchdown. And then gets into a fight with his teammate on the sideline. I mean, I gotta say, like I said, this is a guy who I want my Raiders to go after, but man, was that a bad couple minutes for Tariq Woolen. What a game, though. That was a beautiful game. Super Bowl matchup. We're coming up on the Super Bowl. It's almost time, guys. It's almost time. And honestly, I don't even think it's the best week of the year for football fans because me personally, I like the divisional round a lot. I like when there's 5 or 6 playoff games going on and you're pretty juiced about it, But it's not even fair to other fan bases in the AFC to just have to watch the Pats and the Chiefs play in the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game every year forever. It's truly just feels like a wooden stake in the heart every time, but it's okay. 1 second. By the way, Celsius, I'm gonna just keep on doing this. You should sponsor me. I'm a big Celsius guy. And this new cherry cola flavor is kind of fire. Unpaid promo, by the way. Seahawks defense, man. Holy shit. We've got the Seahawks versus the Patriots rematch. I bet you if it comes down to 3rd and goal on the 1 or 4th and goal on the 1, I bet you they're going to run the fucking ball. I bet you that. I'd be shocked if they called it. If Clint Kubiak called a pass on the 1, that would be honestly, it'd be even cooler if he did it and it worked, and you're just like, get fucked. But Seahawks Pats. I think that the Seahawks are going to win this game. I'm debating taking them minus the 5, which is insane to lay 5 points in a Super Bowl. But personally, I think the Seahawks are better on both sides of the ball. I think that they are going to get Drake May on the ground. I made a little parlay just for my own. I was bored at 4 o'clock in the morning last night while I was playing NCAA football. Got bored, was just cooking up a parlay I planned on putting $10 on. But I think they're going to get after Drake May, and I think they're going to get him on the ground. And the Pats wide receiver core has been definitely underrated by guys like me and people who talk about football for the entire season. But I think they're getting a little big for their britches now. I think there's a lot of people who think about the Pats receiving core as being really good. And I think the Seahawks are going to show them that is not the case. They're not good enough to separate on the Seahawks secondary. And I think that even the Patriots tight ends are going to be in hell. And I think especially this needs to be a Travion Henderson masterclass game because I don't think Ramondre Stevenson is going to get anything going. I can't see a situation where Ramondre Stevenson breaks off a run over 7 yards on this team. They're so fast. The Seahawks defense is so fast. I think they call them the dark side, which is fucking awesome. They're so fast, and they get to the ball so quick. And when you have a running back who's not really that fast, and the coolest thing about the Seahawks team is that their whole secondary fucking loves to tackle. Ramondre's not getting out on the edge over Nick Emanwari. Nick Emanwari is flying in like a ICBM missile and taking his ass out. I think this is going to be a rough one for the Patriots, unfortunately for them. Fortunately for me, I'd like to see the Seahawks win. I'd like to see Sam Darnold win. The Seahawks, I root for the Seahawks in this game just because they have made me an ungodly amount of money this NFL season. I had the over in that Rams-Seahawks game. That was beautiful. Shit cashed by the start of the 3rd quarter. It was beautiful. Free money. But the Seahawks, they've just won me so much money this year. I have to root for them in this game. And I just can't watch the Patriots do it again. It would make me sick. I want to talk about some coaching. I want to talk about just a little bit of coach. Actually, no, I lied. Let me tell you guys the parlay that I made. This is stupid. We have Drake May under 224.5 passing yards. I just think that it's going to be a slugfest. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game for the Pats. We have Ramondre Stevenson under 14.5 carries. I think he's going to stop getting the ball. I think they're going to fall behind, and I think he's going to stop getting the ball. But you know what? Maybe it's stupid to have an under on passing yards if I think they're going to fall behind, but whatever. Ramondre Stevenson under 51.5 rushing yards. I have Rashid Shaheed for over 4.5 rushing yards. I feel like Clint Kubiak's going to cook up like a random jet sweep or like something weird to get Rashid Shaheed involved. And I just thought that was a fun line. This is not gambling advice. This is a stupid parlay I made for fun. Drake May over 6.5 carries. I think Drake May is going to have to use his legs. I think they're going to be coming after him in the pocket. I think he's going to have a lot of times where he has to roll out and get like 2 yards and get hit and go down. DeMarcus Lawrence for a sack. That feels like a lock. And then A.J. Barner of the Seahawks for a touchdown. I like them to be very, very focused on Cooper Kupp and JSN. And I think that we're going to get a random A.J. Barner touchdown. That would be 63-1 odds. So I put $20 on it for my own entertainment during the Super Bowl to win $1,200. I'm probably going to come up with a couple extras. I'm going to do like some Super Bowl specials for fun. Had to hit pause real quick. I got a phone call, but let me lock back in. Coaching carousel, yapping. Like I said, I'm going to do a couple of Super Bowl specials for like parlay wise. We'll come around and we'll talk about that. I'm not a big parlay guy. I like to bet straight, but for the Super Bowl, we'll probably cook up a couple just for the love of the game. Made a lot of profit this year. We turned about $500 into about $3,000. So real nice, real nice. Coaching carousel, yapping. Just real quick. The Bills hire Joe Brady and the Steelers hire Mike McCarthy. I actually wrote Mike Tomlin here, and that almost messed me up. Whatever. The Steelers hire Mike McCarthy, and the Bills hire Joe Brady. Here's my thing. This just feels like if I had like, it feels like you're getting the same thing you just tried to get rid of. Of course, Sean McDermott was a defensive coach. Joe Brady was an offensive coach, or is an offensive coach, and he can be very good. Your problem is the defense. Your problem is that Josh Allen makes a shitload of money, your receiver core sucks, and your defense is dog shit. So does hiring your own offensive coordinator, like you fired Sean McDermott, not because he was a bad coach or not because of his lack of, ability. You fired Sean McDermott because you felt like you needed a new voice in the locker room. The owner said it. I think his name's Terry Pagula. He said it. He was like, after I saw our players crying and everybody all fucking heartbroken, I just felt like we needed a new voice, basically, was what he said. And then you just hire a guy in-house, which, like, I get, but really? Like, that was the move? I don't know. It just feels like you're doing the same shit. And then the Steelers hire Mike McCarthy, who just feels like the offensive version of Mike Tomlin. Like, I'm sure you're probably going to win 9 or 10 games and make the playoffs and lose again. The Steelers are one of the only franchises in the league that I think would be happier if their team went just 3-14 than if they go 9-8 again. Like either bottom out or compete for the Super Bowl, and you can't compete for the Super Bowl. Hiring Mike McCarthy feels like you're telling yourself, okay, we're just going to get in the dance. You've been in the dance. You haven't won a playoff game since like 2017. You've been in the dance for a long time. The Steelers and Bills just did the equivalent of like you have like a girlfriend who like cheats on you, and you're like, man, I can't deal with these cheating ass women who just keep on, coming in and ruining my life. And then you're like, you know who I should date? There's this girl. She loves going to like these raves, right? And like EDM shows. And she's not over her ex. And she's also the team manager for the college basketball team nearest to me. And oh, by the way, she cheated on her ex-boyfriend with you, and now you're dating her. Like, are we just going from one problem to the next? Like, of course, there's a possibility that Joe Brady's great. There's a possibility that Mike McCarthy's great. I think they're both going to be good head coaches. But you didn't, like, solve the thing that you wanted. Like, the Steelers, you can't compete for a Super Bowl. Why not just hire, like, a young guy? That's what you've done with Tomlin. Why not just hire, like, a young, interesting coach? Instead of some guy who's going to just coach you to mediocrity and be cool again, and you could lose a playoff game again. The Bills, you talk about how you need a new message, and then you hire the guy who you just went comfortable. You just hired your OC. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. It just feels like you dumped your crazy girlfriend because she was nuts, then you went to the psych ward to go get another one. You know what I mean? Like you you were dating a woman with kids and the kids were annoying, and then you went and picked up some chick who's divorced. Like, what are we doing? You know, you just where's the solution? Whatever. Also, sports podcast, you know what I mean? So I can talk about a sports movie. Went and saw Marty Supreme. Shit was sick. I'm getting into movies. It's kind of been my thing lately. I've been watching a lot of movies. I'm learning. You know what I mean? I'm learning about movies. I'm ranking all my movies. Marty Supreme was sick. I saw a bunch of people say it was sick, and then I saw a bunch of people bitching about it, saying how you're idolizing some narcissistic dude or whatever. Stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life, because what is the point of any show? Does the guy I root for just have to be some perfect person? Like, when I watched The Sopranos, I wasn't like, man, Tony Soprano sure is a good guy. I was like, no, this show is fucking sick. Like, when I watched Breaking Bad, I wasn't like, man, Heisenberg is really the guy I need to be idolizing. Thank God he's technically like the protagonist in this show. No. Like, are you stupid? Obviously Marty Mauser did a bunch of stupid shit in this movie and was clearly a terrible person, cheating on his pregnant girlfriend and all this other terrible shit and stealing money from people and doing all this ridiculous shit. The point of the movie was about obsession and how far obsession for something can drive you, right? And how far being truly, genuinely obsessed with something will take you in life, and how it's kind of probably a bad idea to chase the money and fame and the obsession. Kind of like Whiplash. Kind of like that. When I watched Whiplash, I wasn't like, oh man, this guy's a real genius for putting up with all this shit that, what's the dude's name? Not Quite My Tempo, whatever the fuck his name is. I can't remember. I will burn this place to the ground. You know what I'm talking about. The guy who plays Omni-Man and also is in that movie. I don't know. J.K. Simmons, I think. I didn't watch that movie and go, man, he was really smart for putting up with all that shit. Like, no, I was like, this is a sick movie. You know what I mean? But Marty Supreme, total ass clencher the whole movie. Felt like Whiplash. Kind of felt like Uncut Gems, where the whole movie you're just, or like Captain Phillips, where the whole movie you're just like, oh my God, like, what the fuck? That's it, though. Marty Supreme was pretty sick. You should go watch it if you didn't. NBA trade deadline's coming up. My Warriors are cooked. Jimmy Butler, ACL, done for. We're gonna do some trade deadline talk soon, but that's all I got for now.